Corsica, the mountain island in the heart of the Mediterranean Sea. It is an island of contrast, calm beaches at its coastline, while wild untamed mountains in its backcountry. 20 degrees Celsius at sea level, but snow still covering the highest peaks. Big cities like Bastia or Ajaccio, and small ancient mountain villages where it feels like time stopped. Corsica is just different, also for us whitewater kayakers. While the rest of Europe's whitewater kayaking destinations are still covered in ice, Corsica already offers exceptional whitewater in early spring around Easter. And contrast doesn't stop there. Corsica offers everything from steep bedrock creeks in tight gorges to flowy boulder gardens, from waterfalls to juicy evening runs when the snowmelt finally arrives in the rivers. And all of this in incredible scenery shaped by the majestic peaks and the Mediterranean way of life, which makes Corsica the early season paradise for us European kayakers. This is whitewater kayaking in Corsica.
What's your name? Green! I got 100 on my dash, got 200 in my trunk. Name in the grab bags for my trunk. Like a cracker on the top of my binocular.
This video is brought to you by the Ramsayer brothers. If you liked it so far, please leave a like and consider subscribing to help us to produce more videos like this one. And now, let's jump straight back to the start of our journey.
So we're about to start our trip to Corsica right now. We just traveled to Nice the whole day, 8 hours straight, and now we jump on this beautiful ship to get there. Let's go. Okay, so we are departing Nice on time, 8 o'clock in the evening. We're arriving at 6:30 o'clock in the morning in Bastia. Hopefully we'll be on time. Okay, so we arrived to Corsica, 7:21, so on time. Time to get started.
Finally, we touched down in Corsica, so the first thing we wanted to do was obviously kayaking. And due to low water levels, we decided to drive across the island to the Travo River, but not without a quick stop at one of our last year's trip favorite sections, the Tavignano Gorge. The Tavignano Gorge is one of Corsica's timeless classics and very famous among kayak schools and clubs, and that for a good reason. It's easy to access as it's located directly next to Camping Anella, one of the meeting points for kayakers on the island. Also, it's one of those sections where every kayaker, no matter how skilled, can have fun. No matter if you're just enjoying the magnificent landscape or if you're trying to style the rapids and throw some down river freestyle moves.
Woo! Welcome to Corsica on our first river, the Tavignano Gorge. Even though it's pretty low, but it's a fun lap. Let's go.
As one of the island's biggest rivers, the Tavignano naturally gets used as a power source. But fortunately, this dam doesn't divert any water, and it gets even better, because there's a kayak slide, so no need to portage. And even though it's a bit of scrambling, it's damn fun to slide down this thing. After that little treat, the river flattens out again, and with the gorge closing in, we finally reach the main rapids. What a nice way to be back in Corsica. But as already mentioned, our goal was to hit the Travo River the next day, so we still had a 2-hour drive ahead of us. I think there are many reasons why Corsica is called l'île de la beauté, or the beautiful island, but the Bevella Pass is definitely one of them. These mountains are so incredible, but the best thing about them is the water they provide for some of Corsica's most famous rivers, like the Risenese or the Codi. And fortunately for us, our camp spot for the night was only 10 minutes away from the put-in of the Cody, so we set out on a tiny scouting mission. The Cody looked promising and the water level was fine, but we all agreed that we still need some time to think about a descent. With the Cody in our minds, we headed back to our campsite, and the next morning we continued our journey to the Travo River, driving over some of the most beautiful streets I've ever been on. While beautiful, these streets unfortunately also cover some potholes, and one of them got our tire. But after quick fixing, we finally arrived at the Taravo. The Travo River is the go-to low-water creek of the island, and with a total of 3 sections, you can definitely spend some time there.
Hey, we finally arrived at our destination for the day, the Middle Taravo.
Our first section of the Taravo was the middle one. It is a class 3 for boulder garden section, and with a length of 9 kilometers, we got plenty of rapids where we can prepare for the harder rivers we still wanna hit. After a few turns, we arrived at the main rapid, a booth into a wall, followed by a big hole waiting at the bottom. After a bit of scouting, Lukas gave it a try. After the main cataract, the Taravo showed its real face, classic Corsican boulder gardens with a bit of scrambling in between. But that's unfortunately also a big part of Corsican whitewater. After a long day of broken tires and a lot of kayaking, we went back to our campsite. And when we woke up again, the night brought a little surprise for us. Our gear, our kayaks, and even the landscape were covered in a thin layer of snow. And at this point, we didn't felt like we were in the Mediterranean Sea.
Didn't expect that in Corsica, but I think that's the reality now. Oh, good morning.
Those 2 guys were our friends for the last 2 days, but now we had to move on.
So after today's snow, we finally got out of our bed and arrived at the Taravo. Today we're going for the upper one.
The upper section of the Taravo is the reason why the Taravo is famous. Even though the first 4 kilometers are mostly scrambling, but after the hard times, they are coming the good ones. Finally, the gorge is closing in and we arrived at the first real rapid. It's a 1.5 meter drop with a gnarly stone in the underwater, so be careful to not get a classic Corsican pin. After that little taste of the Taravo, there comes the most famous rapid of the run, the Elephant Teeth. It is a little bit tricky, but so fun. Embedded in a now relatively steep gorge, the Taravo works its way down the much jungle, till we reach the crux of the run. A huge slide with a big rock in the middle. I was really thinking hard of this one, but it took some time. In the end, I decided to run it. I didn't have the line I imagined. I missed the move at the beginning so I got pushed to the right side, but still, somehow I managed to skip out of this thing. After the crux rapid comes the best part of the Taravo. Continuous class 3 boulder gardens with some cool bedrock features in between. What a sick day out on the river, and now we finally felt ready for the Cody, so we quickly jumped in our beds to be fit the next morning.
So schnell waren wir noch nie.
This was a hectic start to the Cody, and everyone who kayaked it knows why. Just so much. Unfortunately, the Cody is another example why non-kayakers shouldn't be allowed to make rules about our kayaking rivers. But now, another challenge awaited us. The river itself. Directly after the Putin Bridge, the Cody flows into one of its tightest gorges, with two beautiful drops inside. But unfortunately, the Cody also showed its other face, which is scrambling, portaging, scrambling, again and again. Still, this work paid off, because the Cody's bedrock features are so magnificent. One of those bedrock features we talked about is the main waterfall, with a quite tricky entry where you need to make a 90 degrees turn followed by the around 7 meter high drop. But if you nail the line, you are flying out of this thing. Afterwards, the Cody is working his way down tight gorges with some more sick bedrock features, and of course, some scrambling and portaging till you reach the biggest slide of the day. There are a few possible lines on this one, like the classic right one. The left or the roller coaster line. And even the middle one is fine too. After that beautiful slide, the Cody flows into one of my favorite rapids, which is a 3 meter high drop with a very tight entry slide, so it's not easy to get a good move here. Following this drop, the Cody gorges open up and the river flattens out a bit until we reach the mill drop, which is a gnarly double drop with bad undercuts and no clean line. On top of that, the mill drop is followed by an unrunnable slot rapid, so we portaged both of them. At least we thought so, because we found a way to run the exit drop of the slot rapid by holding each other's boats and then sliding in from the left side. Finally, after this beautiful drop, the Cody digs itself into its gorges again and the bedrock rapids are back, like a beautiful 3 meter drop or some slides.
Make it loud.
Unfortunately for us, this slide also marked the takeout of the Cody, because we didn't find any other way back to the street downstreams. And believe me, that way was so exhausting to hike up.
Oh my god. No, that's a hike out. Holy shit. So exhausting.
After the Cody, we finished all the rivers in the south of the island, and that's why we decided to drive through the heart of Corsica, back to Camping Anella, where we did have a rest day, only paddling the middle section of the Golo, because we had some sick plans for Friday. On Fridays, Corsica suddenly has one river more to offer, the classic section of the Travo, that you can only paddle on Fridays or Mondays due to local regulations. The Travo is probably Corsica's most iconic river for one reason: the dome, a beautiful waterfall combination which you'll find in every Corsican whitewater guide. And even though the rest of the section isn't that famous, it's still got some clean bedrock rapids in a beautiful Californian looking bedrock gorge. But first things first, because at the start Travo isn't nearly that clean and you also can't spot any bedrock here. Instead, at least at our low water level, you need to scramble down some more or less clean boulder gardens until you eventually reach the first slide of the day. Now, the Travo finally starts digging itself into its famous bedrock gorge, where all the fun really starts. A nice poof there, a small drop there, but unfortunately also a small portage, at least at our low water level. After that portage, you reach the narrow slot rapid, which brings back joy. This rapid then gets followed by a 2-slide combination, which works really smooth and nicely. We almost reached the dome at this point, but the longest and sketchiest slide of the section is still ahead of us. Even though it's not that hard to paddle, it got some nasty rocks at the left side where you don't want to end up. Finally, we reach what we came for, the dome, with its 2 beautiful around 5 meter high drops. The first one is the trickier one of them, because you need to get to the left side and place a late poof there, but you will get rewarded with 6 skip if you manage to do so. The second one is a bit easier because you got a kicker on the middle left, and that kicker really makes you fly out of this drop. After the dome, the Travo flows into really gnarly boulder gardens, and that's why we decided that it was not worth continuing downstream. So we climbed back up to the top of the first drop, which wasn't really easy, because the granite there was really smooth, slippery and steep. From this point on, there was a hiking trail back to the road, but like on the Cody, the hike was brutal. Oh my god, that was another crazy hike out. The second in a row after the Cody one. I think this one was even worse because there were so many trees in the path and many stones and very steep, so
Very exhausting, but we made it. It was a beautiful section on the Travo here.
If you consider the Travo the most iconic river on Corsica, the Golo would be second place for sure. As the longest river of the island, it's just plenty of sections for everyone. The Golo gains most of its water from Corsica's highest peaks, which were still covered in a thick layer of snow at this point, and after the previous days being pretty hot, the snowmelt finally provided the water needed for the upper Golo. The upper Golo is Corsica's most famous Class 4 section, and that's no surprise. With its crystal clear water, its majestic landscape, and its clean bedrock rapids, it's a perfect joy lab for every Class 4 kayaker.
So we are currently on the little trail towards the put-in of the upper Golo. I'm glad to be back here. It's warm as you see, shorty session. The snowmelt is kicking in, so I hope we get some water as we continue down the river. Look at that water. Crystal clear. So beautiful.
The first rapid of the upper Golo is a sweet double drop, where you'll get some smooth skips if you nail the line. After this little warm-up treat, the Golo is flowing into a bedrock gorge and the classic character starts to come out, which is small bedrock or boulder garden rapids intercepted by a few bigger rapids, like a nice booth followed by a little gorge with some stuck logs at the end. When there's a big stone in the middle of the river, you know that one of the main rapids is there. It has two possible ways, the left one, which looks pretty gnarly, and the one we chose, which is the right one. After that nice drop, the Golo directly continues with its famous booth versus the wall, followed by a little gorge slide. After that set of mine rapids, the Golo mellows out a bit until we reach the last rapid before the confluence with the Calasima. It's the so-called toilet flush, and at our water level it was fine, but don't underestimate the recirculation at higher flows. After the confluence with the Calasima, we reached our second section of the day, the lake section, and because the Calasima brought even more water than the Golo that day, the volume increased drastically and it felt like we were kayaking on another river. The rapids of the lake section are kind of contrast program to those on the upper. From less volume, tight bedrock rapids to flowy and pushy, for Corsican style even big volume rapids. At this point, we sadly reached our final day of kayaking on the island, so we wanted to end our trip with a bang. And because we got the rare opportunity of the Calasima having water, our choice for our last river was clear. If I had to give a prize to the most beautiful put-in on Corsica, the Calasima definitely deserves the first place. And that's because while walking the little trail, you are constantly face to face with Monte Cinto, Corsica's highest mountain.
So today's mission is the Calasima River, a little tributary of the Golo River. As you've already seen, it runs down the slopes of Monte Cinto, so we will get a lot of snowmelt when the day progresses. Right now it's 2 PM. Right now I think we're at the low side of low.
While the surrounding is beautiful, the Calasima is a huge rock pile at the beginning. And that's mostly because the river drastically rises and falls with the snowmelt, which just hasn't arrived in the riverbed yet. This constant scrambling is very frustrating at the beginning, but eventually you'll reach the first slides. At some point, we reached a little bridge crossing the river which marked one of the main rapids. A narrow drop with weird entrance, so we all decided to portage. But while portaging, we realized that Felix somehow managed to break his boat. So he, Simon and our dad were unfortunately forced to hike out, while I was lucky enough to continue with Manuel and Nico. Directly after that incident, the Calasima got steeper, the boulders got bigger, and the water of the snowmelt finally arrived in the river. So the quality of the whitewater increased drastically, which made the river much more enjoyable. After these nice cataracts, we reached the Calasima's most famous rapid, the triple step, a combination of 3 about 1.5 meter high drops directly after each other. Following this beautiful rapid, the Calasima flows through lots of bedrock and boulder garden rapids till we reach its final gorge before the confluence with the Golo. We arrived at the final canyon at this point, and the first swing which awaited us was a small drop with huge drawback, so we all agreed to portage at one. After this small portage, the Calasima still had some nice slides and drops for us till we reached the confluence with the Golo, where we continued with a quick lake section left.
So that's the Calasima River and the lake section. It was pretty sick. Unfortunately my brother's boat broke, so he couldn't do the whole section. I was lucky enough to continue with Manuel and Nico, so yeah, it was pretty fun. Best hard river day in Corsica this year.
Dad was seriously sick last day out on the river. And throughout our 10 days on the island, we paddled many of the Corsican classics, at least those which worked with our gauges. Still, Corsica stores many more, mostly unknown rivers which are waiting to be explored. Cheers for watching.